you ever been to a gig or a concert and you've looked at the back of the auditorium or the back of the festival and there's a big tent or desk set up and there's hundreds of buttons, hundreds of faders, hundreds of dials? What do they all do? Well, most likely they're the audio mixer, which is what I thought we'd take a look at today. An audio mixer is used to mix all the different sounds that you hear in a live production or even a recording. So for example, microphones, guitars, drums, mix them all together to come out of one output, which is the main speakers or the headphones, which you listen to. So let's take a look. So as the name implies, an audio or sound mixer mixes several different input sources of audio, for example a microphone and a guitar, together to one particular output, here 2 speakers. So you get your input level of the guitar and the input of the microphone, you balance them together so the microphone doesn't overpower the guitar or vice versa, and then you send that signal out through to the main speakers or even to a recorder. So here we've got the Allen & Heath Z24, which is a pretty standard representation of what an audio mixing desk looks like. It's got 24 different inputs, which are each one of these faders all along here from here onwards, including 16 of them are XLR, which is this kind of connector, which you use to plug in microphones, and then 4 over here have these RCA connectors, which is like what you've got on like a DVD player or a CD player. Each one of the channels also has a line level input, so that's this particular plug. It's also called a TRS plug, and that's for plugging in things like a guitar or a keyboard, which don't necessarily have this kind of connector out, they have this one. They also come in at different volumes, so that's why you have a mic or a line level. Now the first knob we have here is gain, so that's essentially the volume before you've set your own volume on the faders down here, so we'll get to that in a second. But essentially the gain is like how loud that particular microphone is. So not the person singing into the microphone, but how loud the microphone is just at a normal level. So you set that, and you move on to your equalizer, which is the next set of faders here. There's 4 knobs. They control the treble, the mids, and then the low or bass frequencies. And they're all referred to as frequencies, which is the pitch of the noise. So if I wanted to control a particular frequency, let's say there's a really good note right in the middle that I want to pick out and have prominent in that sound mix. I choose this and I find the frequency on this black knob here. So let's say I choose 1 kilohertz, which is a frequency right in the middle. And then I want to increase that frequency. You can turn this blue knob up, which is they're linked, or I might want to decrease it, so I can turn it down. Similarly, if I want to increase the bass notes, I can turn up this low frequency knob, or if there's too much bass in this particular microphone or instrument, I can turn that down. The same with the treble up here, I can increase the high notes, or I can decrease the volume of the high notes. Next we have auxiliaries, which I'll go into more explanation later, but essentially this is so I can send my sound not only to the main output, but also to some auxiliary outputs. So for example, if I had speakers on the stage for the performers, or people had headphones on that they wanted a different sound mix to what everyone else is hearing, I do that through auxiliaries, so they're really handy. Then we've got a pan here, that's pretty simple, it just moves the sound from the left speaker or over to the right speaker. So for example, if you had 2 microphones on a drum kit, one on the left side, one on the right side, you could send one of the microphones to the left and the other one to the right, and it would give you a little bit of a stereo image when you're sitting right in the middle of the 2 speakers. Next we've got a mute switch, pretty self-explanatory, it either mutes that channel or lets the audio through. And then we have a PFL. So if I activate the PFL for a particular channel, it sends only that channel's audio through to the headphones that I have plugged into this mixing desk. So if I want to listen to a particular microphone or a particular instrument without hearing everything that's in the mix, I can PFL that particular channel and listen to that through my headphones. Finally, you've got the fader. This is just essentially volume. So if you've got a really loud singer, or quiet singer rather, but then they do a really loud note, so they go really loud and they're becoming too loud, you can just pull them down. Then you can push them up again when they're quiet. So this is generally when you see people mixing a sound stage or a concert or something, they have all the faders kind of like this. So they might have a really loud guitar for this particular point, and then this singer is too quiet, so we can push them up, and then the guitar's too loud, so we pull them down. Then over here we find that the kick drum of the drum kit is too loud, can pull that one down, and then we can't hear the snare at all, so we can push the snare up. So it's just things like that. Once you've set the level of that particular microphone, you can then go through and just change the audio on the fly here, and it's really easy to do that. Starts at 0 down here, obviously that's having no sound come out at all. And then the max sound, the loudest volume you can get from that particular instrument. is all the way at the top. So that kind of makes sense. Moving over here, we've also got these blue faders, and the blue faders just simply represent these different kind of connectors up here, and each of these channels is actually 2 channels, or a stereo channel, which is like a left and a right input. So for example, coming out of your CD player, puts out a left channel and a right channel, and they combine together to make this blue fader. Then we head over to the master section here. So naturally you've got your master fader. So if you have all these up but your master fader's down, nothing will come out the speakers. So you turn them up, and that controls the volume of all this mixed together and what volume that comes out of. There's 2 faders here because one's for the left and one's for the right. We've also got the auxiliaries here. So you plug in your speakers on stage, your fallback speakers they're known as, or whatever other auxiliaries you have up here in the aux outs. Then you can control the master volume just on these 2 knobs here. So they're kind of like this, but they're in knob form, not fader form, because your auxiliaries are used less than the main output. Here you've got PFL, so you plug in your headphones just up here into either of these headphone ports, and then you can choose what exactly comes through your headphones. So you can pick aux 1, aux 2, I think that says effects of return, or if you PFL'd anything, that bypasses that and lets you listen to that particular channel. Or even if I select multiple channels for PFL, it'll split them, it'll just send those particular channels together. Now, setting your mixing desk up isn't as complicated as it seems. You simply get your audio source, so here for example I've got a microphone, plug a cable in, an XLR cable only goes in one way with the audio always sending out of the pins, and then you just plug it in. So now this audio source is connected, I turn the gain up. So this is a pretty sensitive microphone, so the volume when I talk in it's very loud, so I'd want to turn the gain down. But if I had a less sensitive microphone that the volume came through really quietly, I would turn the gain up for this particular microphone. So you set the gain, run down, decide where you want it to be panned, if you want to send it out of any of your auxiliary outputs. So if the people on stage, if I was a singer on stage singing into this microphone, I'd probably want to hear myself through the speakers, so I'd turn auxiliary 1 and maybe 2 up. Maybe do a bit of equalization, maybe my voice has really nice bass notes, so you turn that up, but I might want to take the high notes out because I'm not that good there. Then we unmute the channel, obviously, decide if we want to pan it left or right, and then turn me up. Now, connecting an output is really easy as well. It's just the same kind of principle. Obviously, you just have your cable actually connected to an output, unlike here, but use the end with the holes, not the pins, because the audio is sending to the speakers, so through to the pins. Plug it in, so your left speaker goes in the left output, right speaker goes into the right output, and you just work out how to actually get that in, like that. Now I have a left speaker connected. So because I've got this channel turned up, I can go over to the master fader, turn the left channel up, and if I had any speakers connected, that would be working right now. So it's pretty easy, it's not that complicated despite all the buttons. Thanks for watching this Technologetic video on audio mixers. If that gave you a little bit of insight into how live scale production or recording works, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos.